Welcome to a video on working with exponents. We've been working our way in this playlist about just real numbers, done a lot of work with fractions. But when we talk about real numbers and working with numbers and being able to compute with numbers, it's always a good idea to get into working with exponents. We're going to deal a lot with exponents in algebra and geometry and algebra 2 and trigonometry and whatnot. So you want to be really comfortable with what an exponent is. That's what we're going to talk about. So here let's think like a mathematician for a little bit. We have addition, right? So if I take 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, I can add a whole bunch of 2's together, plus 2, but really quickly we can see that it gets kind of boring and redundant, right? So multiplication is a way to address, well, how many 2's do we have? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why not just do 2 5 times? 2 times 5. So multiplication is a way to deal with repeated addition. Well, on the flip side, what if I'm multiplying a bunch of stuff? Let's go next level here. What if I have 2 times 2 times 2? What if I have a problem that involves multiplying by the same thing over and over again? Well, now that's redundant, but it's multiplying. So what do we have that shows a shorthand way of repeated multiplication? That's where exponents come in. So 2, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 2's all multiplied together. That's 2 to the 5th power. So we have exponent is a power. We write a little notation like that. And it just indicates that I have a whole bunch of 2's multiplied. And in fact, there's 5 of them being multiplied together. This is not 2 times 5, it's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is 2 times 2 is 4, 8, 16 is 32. So 2 to the 5th power is actually 32. It's kind of funny to think now, but it's a common mistake I see students make. They'll do 2, they'll see that little 5, and so they think, oh, that's 2 times 5, so that's 10. And in the heat of a moment, in the rush of working through a problem, it's really easy to make mistakes like that. But no, this is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, 5 times. You want to make sure you know how to do exponents on any calculator you have. There's a couple buttons to look for. Depending on your calculator, you may have a button that with a little symbol like that. That's a caret symbol. So if I wanted to do 2 to the 5th power, I would type in 2. I would type in that caret button, and then I would do the 5 button indicating the 5th power, and then I would hit my enter button. So it could be something like that. You could also have a calculator with a little button that looks like this, with a little X down below and a little Y above. That's also commonly referred to as a power button. So you could do 2 to the power of 5, and then hit enter, and then hopefully that will give you 32. Anyways, play around with that, pause this video, pull out a calculator, make sure you know how to do exponents on your calculator. They can be very handy for the rest of your math career. All right, so let's look at some other examples of exponents here and thinking about what we have going on. What if I have a fraction? What if I have 2 sevenths? And I'm taking it to the 3rd power. What does that mean here? Well, I've still got 3 2 sevenths all multiplied together. So I could rewrite it like this. 2 sevenths times 2 sevenths times 2 sevenths. In fractions, you just multiply the numerator. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. And multiply the denominator. 7 times 7 times 7 is 243. So you can do exponents with fractions. You can do exponents with negative numbers as well. So let's take a look at a good one here. What would be negative 3 squared? Well, we have a negative number, but let's think about what that squared means. It means I have 2 of them. So I have negative 3 times negative 3. Well, we've learned a negative times a negative has to equal a positive. So negative 3 squared is going to be 9. It turns into a positive number. Now, here's an interesting thing. Since we're on this idea of squaring a negative, what happens if I have something like this? Some of you may even be testing this now. So there's no parentheses. It's the only difference. I have negative 3 squared, which seems like I have negative 3 squared here. The difference being the parentheses, I'm only squaring the 3 in this case. That negative works in the same level as a multiplication. So the way your calculator is programmed is it's going to say, oh, that's 3 squared, which is 9, and then you want the opposite of that. So it's going to equal negative 3 times 3, which is going to equal negative 9. So as you're working with exponents and as you're working with negative numbers and fractions, all this stuff, be very careful about what you're taking the power of, using parentheses, what do you want the exponent of, what do you not want the exponent of, and making sure if you're especially working with a calculator, you're telling it exactly what you do want to do. All right, so hopefully that's a good introduction to thinking about exponents, working with exponents, with fractions, what an exponent is, how to be careful about it with negative numbers, and just getting good understanding of exponents.